Hello, my name's Trevor Payne and I'm the Director of Estates at the University of Birmingham. I've pre-recorded this presentation to you today because at the time of showing it to you, I'll be in Dubai. I'm working over there to deliver a new 4,000 student campus. I was keen to present to you today because some of you may know I worked at a senior level in the NHS for nearly 30 years, and for 16 of those years I was a Director of Estates and Facilities working in Oxford, Swindon, and for the last 10 years in London at University College Hospital and at Barts Health. So I've got some relevant experience and views to offer to the conversation today. I was responsible for some of the largest, the newest, the oldest and the most complex hospitals in the NHS estates, and I've got lots of PFI experience. I'm passionate about the effective delivery of estates and facilities services and also the impact that they have on staff and the patient experience, and in HE on the student experience. So today I'll present you some of my thoughts and I'll run through them shortly in some slides just to outline those thoughts to you. There are some huge parallels between the higher education and the NHS estate management challenges. We both have large and complex estates, we both have backlog maintenance with ageing and heritage buildings, and we have some of the oldest and the newest buildings in our sectors to look after. And those buildings contain a variety of complex and highly serviced environments. And that complexity will require a dedicated, skilled and trained workforce. The NHS provided me with a wide range of transferable skills, both technical and life skills, and they're skills that I'm now utilising in higher education to deliver a £700 million capital programme by 2021 and to manage a 700-acre estate with over 200 buildings across the globe. The NHS Estates Workforce Challenge is not a new issue. I was involved in a review with NHS Estates called Developing Capacity over 20 years ago, looking at demographics and the risks associated with an increasingly ageing workforce. And it was getting more and more difficult to attract, to recruit and to retain the right numbers of skilled staff into the NHS workforce. It's important when we consider the NHS estate workforce to include our outsourced providers and our PFI providers. We have an embedded two-tier workforce, but with the same skills requirements and the same challenges. A significant amount of the NHS estate will be managed by those third-party teams, but we both have to deliver a consistent and a compliant service. With respect to higher education and NHS challenges, often we're physically located next door to each other, hospitals and universities, with embedded space, yet we rarely collaborate on training, on procurement, on innovation and service provision. Each year I run an NHS and higher education estates collaborative conference at the University of Birmingham in November to try and explore those opportunities. So this November, I'd like to give over a large chunk of the agenda to workforce issues and challenges and some of the points that you'll be discussing later today. I'm now going to run through some of my slides. So my first slide is focused on, so why is this an issue for us? Demographics and economics. I mentioned earlier that we've got an ageing workforce and we've got a more and more acute focus on finance within the NHS. So we need to make sure we develop a plan that encourages people to come and work for the NHS, but we also create a workforce that's affordable moving forward. Each hospital will have compliance, investment requirements and stewardship to make sure that we look after the capital investment in the newer buildings that we have, the upgrade work that we need to deliver, but also making sure that we maintain the older buildings that are in the estate and we keep an eye on backlog maintenance. That links through to the point on risk management and governance. We need to make sure we all understand the risks that we have within the hospitals that you manage and have a clear risk register approach to how we manage that governance. And the workforce within estates and facilities are key to keeping on top of those risks. There's also an issue around response. At the moment, there are a number of reports and initiatives that we need to respond to. There's the Naylor report with all of its estate and property related challenges. There's the Carter report focusing on performance, productivity and cost savings. So we need to be in a position to respond effectively to those challenges and link that to the workforce agenda. So what range of skills do we need for a estates team? Well, at one end of the spectrum, we need technical and trade skills. We need to make sure the hospitals are maintained. That we have carpenters, we have painters, we have electricians to make sure that things function correctly. And at the other end of the spectrum, we need a management team, we need effective supervisors, and we need a clear view on leadership to make sure that we can manage all of these complex environments in a safe and compliant manner. If we start to think about what skills do some of the leaders and the senior managers in estates need, both now and in future years, we need to make sure we focus on influencing skills, negotiating skills, political skills, and understanding how politics within organisations work. a clear head and a clear view on financial management, but more and more commercial skills, particularly within PFI, where estates managers end up administering contracts rather than managing buildings. And I think this is leading us more into a spectrum of generalist and specialist skills within estates. Generalists, senior managers who know a little bit about a lot of things, and specialists who are focused on some of the areas around electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, for example. So this presents challenges and opportunities to us. One of the things I just wanted to mention was this whole point around board level appointment and whether or not directors of estates should be at board level within hospitals or NHS trusts. For me, it's not a big issue. It's more about making sure that whoever the senior person is within an organisation from an estates and facilities perspective has got respect, has got the ear of those people that can make differences and can make decisions, and that they're seen and credible within the organisation. I don't think they necessarily need to be on the board. They just need to be effective in post. There are some challenges and opportunities around apprentices and apprenticeships. If we're going to grow our own talent, apprenticeships are a really important way of starting to bring fresh blood and new ideas into the organisation. And we also need to grasp this whole new opportunity around degree apprentices and how we might bring that into more effective use. Let's not forget, this is a supported agenda. The very fact that you're sat in a room today and you've come away from your workplace to focus on this is because there's support to get this sorted. So let's all engage and let's make sure that we do deliver something today. We also need to be realistic. It takes time to grow and develop capacity. So if we know that we've got teams that we need to plug gaps in, that we need to develop skills in, and we need to bring apprentices in and new blood, we need to get a plan. We need to map what needs to be done. We need to be realistic about how we deliver it and how long it's going to take. One area that I'd encourage you to focus on is around talent management and looking within your team and around your team for those next leaders, those next supervisors, or those next managers that could take forward this whole estates and facilities agenda. There is a talent pool there. You just need to tap into it. And I just wanted to mention collaboration again because it's an important point for me. I want to make sure that we're doing as much as we can between universities and hospitals, particularly when they're located next door to each other, to make sure we drive this agenda forward. So some of the points that I would suggest that you want to discuss or consider this afternoon when you get into your discussion groups. First of all is the role of IHEAM and HEFMA, institutes and professional bodies, but also Eastwood Park, the training venue that you've got within the NHS, and making sure that all are aware of it and all are using it to full effect. I think we need to explore a little bit more about university input, particularly around leadership and collaboration. From a leadership perspective, the University of Birmingham already supports the NHS with NHS leadership training. Perhaps we could explore if that's something we could work with you on to deliver some NHS estates leadership training in the future. And collaboration I've mentioned before, and let's not lose sight of that conference that I'm running in November later this year. I'd suggest you focus on burning platforms today. There's a whole load of issues you need to sort out, but try and focus on the things you need to do first in risk priority order and get a plan around those issues. My experience in the NHS has led me to believe that you need to focus on supervisors. Supervisors will either be the managers of tomorrow or the people that will unblock a lot of the issues that you're dealing with. Quite often things survive or fall at that supervisory level, so that's an area of focus that you need to consider. I think you need to start to work on case studies and role models because there's lots of really good things happening out there in hospitals every day up and down the country, and estates are delivering some fantastic services in some really difficult circumstances. So sing about it, develop case studies and play up those role models. We need to attract people into the industry. And the last point on this slide that I want to mention, discuss today, take the opportunity to consider all of these issues, but make sure you deliver something. Don't make this a talking shop that doesn't lead to any results. I hope that you found the points that I've raised today to be useful. I'm offering time on the agenda at the HE NHS Estates Conference at the University of Birmingham in November to discuss collaborative actions and options. I currently have 10 apprentices at the UOB, and I'd like to explore a forum for our apprentices between both sectors to exchange ideas and experiences. And that doesn't need to be face-to-face. Perhaps we could explore some sort of WhatsApp group to try and get people talking. And I'm keen to support that from a University of Birmingham perspective. The university has close links with the NHS. We've got the largest medical school in the NHS outside of London. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital is our neighbour. So we do a lot of work with the NHS, so I'm keen to continue to be involved. I hope that you hear some great presentations today and that your breakout and discussion groups are productive and stimulating. Many thanks.